Yep.
There we go.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Plug and Tut channel live stream. You know, Dave, I don't do too many live streams on the Plug and Tut channel, and I hope to do more. And you're the guinea pig.
Yeah.
Is that okay to say?
Yeah. I'll be the guinea pig. I've been called worse.
And I'm hoping to explore, through the means of live streaming, other YouTube WordPress creators, right? People who are creating tutorials, courses, classes, news, things like that. And you popped up on my radar because you've upped your production value quite a lot lately.
Ding.
You're doing a fantastic job. But for folks
you did let me know, actually. It's one of my fairly more recent videos, and you did take the time. I don't know whether you were taking the time to congratulate and encourage me, or to say you.
I see what I have to do now. So Dave, for folks who don't know who you are, who are you and what do you do?
Hey, yeah, I'm Dave Foy. I teach for the last 3.5 years. I've taught non-coder web designers how to build websites faster and more profitably with WordPress and Elementor. And I do that through free content like a YouTube channel and regular webinars and things like that, as well as I also make and sell a couple of courses too, paid courses. One of them is No Stress WordPress, and the other one is No Fear Funnels. And yeah, and I'll tell you later on as well about kind of like a bit of a new direction that I'm about to launch into as well. So I'm a bit of an exciting crossroads at the moment.
Awesome. So we have a few people in the live chat. If you have any questions, drop it in the live chat. We'll get to those as we move through the stream. Hey, Charlie from South Carolina, Brian from Austin, Texas, and Jeffrey Caradang, who actually I have a new plugin of yours, Jeffrey, to test out and upload to the channel. But don't tell Dave. I want the content for me. I don't want
Exclusive.
it for Dave. So Dave, one of the things I want to dive into is this whole YouTube thing. You know, I started this channel 3.5-ish years ago, I think. And maybe just like you, and that's why I'm excited to get your opinion on this. I was like, hey, I see YouTube's just blowing up. This was 3 years ago. And I was like, I got to get into this game of creating videos, creating content, building an audience, because I see all these other people doing it. And then I sat out there and I was creating 3 or 4 videos every single week. And my YouTube subscriber growth was like, a little drip here and there, like 1 subscriber, lose 3, 2 subscribers, lose 1, right? And you're just like, what am I doing with this? And it got me to the point after a year of maybe reaching 2,000-ish subscribers, and I was just done, like burnt out, sick of making YouTube WordPress tutorials, and I literally gave up. Didn't even want to look into my analytics. Didn't want to log in to the channel for a year, and then after a year, it just grew organically. There was a year of me doing absolutely nothing, and the channel grew to like 6,000 subscribers doing absolutely nothing, right? A testament to evergreen content, SEO, and search, and all that stuff. I'm curious, your entry point into YouTube. Why did you decide? What has been that journey like, and where do you see yourself going on YouTube in the future?
I've never seen myself as a YouTuber as such, but when I'd previously built websites for clients for 16 years, and for various reasons, I just got very disillusioned with the whole client game, really. And I had previously been a teacher. So I was a teacher in what we call primary schools in the UK, so teaching young children, basically. I did that for 10 years as a qualified teacher. I always loved teaching. That was like always my biggest passion. But doing the web design for client stuff, I started to realize that I'd actually spent a lot of time. My happiest, most fulfilling moments were actually either teaching clients to be more successful with what I'd built them, or actually teaching colleagues as well. Teaching graphic designers who wanted to put their work online and all kinds of things. So when I got to thinking, hang on a minute, I could actually do this online. I could actually have a business teaching. I could kind of combine the 2 loves of web design and also the teaching thing as well. So yeah, so I had this kind of big revelation, I suppose. And so in one sense, YouTube was just completely natural. And I have to say, I hadn't spent any time looking at other YouTubers. I didn't spend any time checking out, what different prominent WordPress YouTubers and not so prominent as well. Nobody. This is one of the things actually I will touch on. I didn't look at anybody else's stuff at all. Now, some people might say, well, that's just really foolish. You want to at least see what the competition are doing in order to figure out how to do it better, for a start, or how to serve your audience better than they are. Find holes in what they're not covering. I didn't do any of that. I just kind of got started. I just thought, I've got an idea that what was it? I wanted to help non-coder graphic designers to start off with, because I figured it was the graphic designer guys who didn't have the tech know-how to realize their kind of design vision. Well, it turns out I didn't attract graphic designers at all. In fact, I don't think what I ended up with was just endless emails from people saying, Dave, I've got a confession to make. I'm actually not a designer, but can I come along as, can I be part of your gang? So I soon realized that was, you've sometimes got to put yourself out there and just get started.
Yeah.
So I just got started making videos in my own way.
Yeah.
I did it my own way completely. Now, my own way at the time was to be, and it still is really, is to be very thorough, very carefully considered, plan the living crap out of everything, have everything kind of lots and lots of planning and lots of sort of visuals. And what I found was that is a slow way to make videos, right? So if you're going to be wanting to crank out a video a day or 3 a week or something like that, that's probably not the best plan. But there were a few things around that. One, I was actually quite inspired by Brian Dean from Backlinko. Now, this is before I even started doing YouTube, but one of Brian Dean's big, I don't know, concepts, I suppose, is that, he's talking about SEO. So it's not directly relevant, but talking about SEO, Brian's big thing is like this whole thing of you've got to be banging out regular content, regular, what's the thing? Regular, fresh content, right? It's got to be regular. It's got to be fresh, whatever that means. And before anybody will pay any attention. And I really resonated with Brian Dean, who was like, don't feel like you've got to do that at all. Actually, take more time to create less content, but make sure that content is absolutely brilliant. The kind of thing that is going to make people go, wow, that was well thought out. It was well structured. You clearly respected the time and the attention of the viewer, and you kind of had, empathy with the struggles that, the audience is. Oh, thank you, Brian. Very kind. That's kind of a good jumping off point, because I started to get comments from people. I expected I would get comments from people saying, that, I don't know, it was a bit too thorough, or I'm a bit too slow, or damn, Dave, when's the next video coming out? And I got none of that. And all I ever got from people was, thank you. You're the only person who, trying to figure out this WordPress, and Elementor was quite new at the time, and I focused on Elementor because I thought it would be the best tool to help the non-existent graphic designers that I was targeting that didn't ever appear. But I definitely kind of decided back in 2016 Elementor was going to be the tool of choice for me. So but I just got so many comments from people saying thank you for making these videos that are just easy to watch, are short, are concise. And the odd time that I've watched other people's YouTube videos, it's not for lack of interest. It's not because I think I'm great and everybody else is. I don't know. maybe there's a little bit of fear that I'm going to end up copying other people, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing because you're human, or at least I think you're human, and
Yeah. Yes.
it's one of those things where you start to see how other people are doing it. You start to be, you start to get swayed, or you start to adopt like some of their things, and maybe that little voice in the back of your head, which, in all honesty, right? If this were a therapy session, like this is what happened to me. It's like, well, I can do that same video, and I can teach it this way too. And that's really that was one of the biggest struggles I had in the beginning. And then I don't even want to say quickly, it was a year. And then I said, I'm just going to tune all of this out, and then really focused on creatives in other spaces, photographers, videographers, and just look at video gamers, right? Streamers, game streamers, and just really artists, like music artists in their live streams, and how they interacted with the audience, right? Was a big thing, for me, and stopped watching all of the technical videos so that I wasn't persuaded or conflicted by my own thoughts, right? A very difficult challenge. And this is something that's widespread across all of YouTube. This isn't just WordPress tutorials. This is what happens, I would imagine, to a lot of people trying to quote unquote make it on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I think you have to carve your own niche, really. And that's not to say that you need to be doing something that is wildly different to anybody else, because there really, what's the phrase about, there really isn't anything new under the sun,
right?
Particularly, But I think one of the things that I realized early on, actually, let me rewind. When I did start looking at what other people were doing, I got myself a little bit freaked out, actually, because quite a lot of the WordPress tutorial crowd were producing these videos, which were all like the latest feature. So the latest thing that's coming up in Elementor, like literally the day that Elementor announced the next beta for the next, with the list of features, and you could download it, you can test it. Probably 10 YouTubers would all have this, exclusive of, there's this new stuff coming, and it's almost like the USP of that channel is to be the first to tell people about the thing. Now, I am not good at being fast, right? I mean, I just hands up. If we need to leave the house like quickly and on time, don't count on me, because I'll still be faffing about replying to a few emails and, tidying the desk and putting my shoes on while everybody else is in the car. So it's a kind of thing that would just, personally for me, would just freak me out. I just cannot be bothered with thinking, oh God, have I missed some exclusive, where I'm not going to be the first to market. So I did actually as well very quickly decide very positively not to do that, not to get swept up in that kind of thing at all. And I also realized that so many people were doing, I suppose, just how-to videos, how to use this plugin, how to use this particular tool, how to use this new feature in whatever. And it's done. I kind of thought, well, a lot of that is done. So how can, now hindsight is a wonderful thing. I'm not suggesting that I had these perfectly formed, insightful thoughts, beautifully formed at the time, right? Because I'm looking back in hindsight, but there was definitely that I thought I actually want to be a bit more strategic about this. So if I mean, in an ideal world, if I'm going to make a video, what I'd like to teach an element of strategy of some kind, something that's going to improve somebody's business, it's going to improve somebody's life, it's going to, help them in some way, where the tech happens to be part of that strategy.
Right.
So for me, rather than here's how to build a landing page, I would prefer to think about, well, where does that fit into a strategy? So let's actually make a video about, acquiring new email subscribers and why that's important to be building an email list. It just so happens that landing page is an essential part of that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that is sort of my something that I just can't pull away from. And I forget what the phrase is. It's just like when you know so much about something, you can kind of just get it lost in maybe over educating or over explaining. And I probably like you, where you say you're much more meticulous. You're not going to do like the breaking news of plugins and stuff like that. One of the things that I often do in my videos is I just provide a lot of commentary about the plugin, about the usability, about the company behind the plugin, to my own detriment sometimes, right? So I know you've never got a bad YouTube comment in your life, but I do.
Oh no, I have.
You know, and you know, people will often say just show us how to use it. Just show us how to use this plugin. And that's like something of conflict, right? Because I can't just show somebody something without giving them the reason behind, you know, why a particular plugin author did it this way, or what the, you know, what the technical debt, the technical overhead your site might have by, you know, installing, you know, Elementor, all of these plugin forms, other landing page like you can't just throw this stuff at your site at will and in 2 years hope that everything is still running the way it was. So I provide a lot of that feedback to my own detriment. Now, I'm well beyond. I don't really care about negative YouTube comments at this point. I sort of laugh at them. And, you know, people must remember, if you're a YouTuber, you have the power to remove that person from the channel.
Yeah.
And that's one of the greatest things. I mean, but I've sort of found my own niche that way by, you know, like you, it's your own flair of your art. And I find that's the flair for my art, because that's how I look at this stuff, as we are artists, we are creatives creating this stuff. Any balance work with you and YouTube comments and reactions, that kind of thing?
What I've found about YouTube comments and comments generally about what I do is that you tend to, I mean, I've not found a single human being that doesn't experience this, where you'll get 100 absolutely wildly positive comments, and I read them and I think, oh, that's really nice, thank you, that's great, thank you. And then you'll get one negative comment that spins around in your brain 3 days and will not let you go. It's ying, 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 ying. And I read a little bit about the kind of, you know, the evolutionary history of this kind of thing, and how our brains are trying to keep us, you know, keep us safe and all that. But yeah, I actually I'm always very interested in the comments on the YouTube videos. I mean, I'm always very big on the call to actions, shall we say. So for me, in the YouTube videos is always telling people, you know, comment below, sometimes hopefully with some sort of purpose. You know, comment below and tell me your opinion on this, or have you experienced this thing before? Telling people to like the thing, telling people to subscribe at kind of frequent intervals. But I've always from the very, very beginning of this entire business, one of the first things I did was read Will It Fly by Pat Flynn, which I don't know if you've read the book Will It Fly, but you know, he's talking about just the importance of audience research and how you find out what your audience thinks, what they want, what makes them tick, in order to serve them better. And YouTube comments have been amazing for that. I mean, the glowing praise is lovely. I'm quite happy with the glowing praise, but I do especially like it when people point out something specific. Now, it might be something specific that they like. It might be something specific that they don't like as well. But I think, as you've clearly realized as well, Matt, is that often when people are telling you, I don't like that thing that you did, or that thing that you do, that is not the cause to kind of think, oh, right, sorry, I'm ever so sorry. I will do better next time, and try and accommodate all those people. It's actually realizing, it's having the courage to be disliked, you know, and the courage to say, that's fine. You're clearly not my audience. You're not my crowd. You're not my tribe. You know, it took me quite a while to get my head, and I have the balls and the confidence, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you one thing that I really held out, you know, speaking about like not copying other YouTubers. I've held out for so long, not having, and this is a segue into like, how do you strategically approach your YouTube channel, SEO, keywords, optimization, stuff like that. I have held out so long using thumbnails with my face in it. All right. Like the typical, here's the person's face with the title, and that
Going
whole,
like this.
yeah, going like that with the
Yeah.
confused look, with the
Yeah.
excited look. I have held out for so long, and I said, you know what? I want to bring some brand consistency to the artwork of the channel, so I'm
Yeah.
going to do it. But I'm curious on your side, like what strategies, what technical SEO keywords research are you doing, or are you just creatively just going at this, creating the content you want?
Yeah, I literally creating the video that I think will best answer the questions that I get and that I hear amongst like emails and YouTube comments and in my sort of student groups and things like that. You will see, and if you carefully look at the timings of my videos and also the number of videos on my channel, the number of videos is very, very, very few actually. I mean, I would hazard a guess at, well, I've been doing this for 3.5 years nearly. I would hazard a guess at maybe what, 15 videos on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a bit less. Most of them are so long ago that they're completely out of date. Actually, and what I did, the reason why is because I did a chunk of them early on, probably about one every 2 weeks. Got really into it, and then yeah. So I mean, God, we're going that top row that we're looking at on the screen at the moment.
Yep.
One on the top right is from 2018.
Yep.
Right, and we're going in chronological order. 2 of those are from this year. Hardly any of them from 2019 at all. A bundle from 2018, and the rest of them are 2017 at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is probably not the strategy that the doctor would order, or any sane YouTube marketer would order. The reason why is because I've learned a lot about this. When I first started, my intention was to make courses, right? That was my thing. It wasn't to build a YouTube channel. It was to build an email list, to nurture a relationship and build a relationship with, to then sell courses, right? That was my entire strategy in a nutshell when I first started. And so I started making the videos. Every single video had, so I'm going a little bit off tangent now, but just to explain, I actually put in every single video some sort of opt-in. So with every single one of them, there was some sort of like opt-in for like the PDF cheat sheet of the steps that I followed, or the Elementor template, so that you could just import the thing that I built in the video and you didn't have to do it yourself. So there's always some sort of element of opt-in. It was all about building the email list. So then when I got to the point of, well, getting over an enormous amount of built-in fear of selling and asking people for money in the first place, which is a whole different issue, but I got there in the end. When I got into making courses, I ended up getting completely bogged down in making those courses, supporting those courses, and the free YouTube thing went out of the window completely. As you said earlier though, Matt, the subscriber numbers kept growing, the email list kept growing, despite myself and my inefficient approach to making courses. So
how did that make you feel? Because for me, sometimes I feel like, man, if I didn't give up for that year, literally a year, maybe I could be at 2 times the subscribers, which it would have helped, and I do this really ideally for just, some side income and growing my audience and growing the podcast audience. And I think about, man, if I just didn't give up, I could be somewhere else down the road. Do you have those thoughts? Or
yeah, absolutely. In fact, every single week, like through the whole time of, I did a pre-sale for my first course, got bogged down in making this enormous course, which I would recommend that process. I would recommend that tactic to nobody. Definitely do not make enormous courses that frankly will be obsolete within 6 months when WordPress updates and Elementor updates and everything else. It's a bad strategy. But literally not a week will go by when I didn't feel actually guilty. I actually felt almost like the same kind of guilt that somebody might feel if, they're not giving the kids enough attention, that kind of thing. It was like, that thing is there. I've got that platform. I've got people who are really into it. And I know that I can be helping a lot more people than the people who have just bought the paid stuff. And but there was just no way. I just didn't have the time, the energy, the anything left.
Yeah.
So absolutely guilty completely for the best part of 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really, like you said, you take on some enormous task and you convince yourself, and you say, this is what I have to do. I now have to absorb this massive responsibility to complete this thing. And it's at least speaking in my own context, it's like, this is a way to validate everything I know and I do by putting out this thing. And certainly I must feel like there's tremendous value here for the customer and for the audience. So all of these things. And then before you know it, a year's gone by and this thing
Yeah.
you've had is just sitting there. So
Yeah,
I
and it's
totally
just this
get it.
process of kind of self-flagellation, isn't it? You
Right.
know, it's I I I think my feelings on it as well is that I don't know, I kind of partly come back to the whole Brian Dean philosophy
Hmm.
of he's very, as I said, he's very big on kind of like cornerstone content. So you mustn't feel like you have to be banging out something all the time. However, looking actually at Brian Dean's own output on YouTube and his own output on his blog, he's still consistent. He's just not like, you know, every day or every
Every
week. It's
day.
probably like
Right.
once a month or
Yeah.
something like that. So I think certainly from now, when because as I said, I'm kind of at the start of a bit of a new thing at the moment, which I'll tell you about later. But I'm actually taking this as an opportunity now to go, right, okay, what did you do over the last 3 years? Right. Have a look at what worked, what didn't work, what are you gonna do now? Now, my feelings on YouTube now, certainly with this kind of like this little new idea, is that I actually see the value of being more consistent, you know, of actually I want to put, because I've now got a team in place as well, which really, really helps. And I've got an idea of how I can just be more efficient across the entire business so that I'm not bogged down in anything. And that is one of the things that I want to do is much more regular YouTube stuff
Yeah.
on a consistent calendar.
Yeah.
So
Well, let's talk
yeah.
about the business side of YouTube. I mean, I know I follow a bunch of YouTube marketing influencers who primarily talk. Roberto Blake is the first one that comes to my mind. He's always talking about sort of monetizing YouTube, the strategy behind it, SEO, and things like that. Um, you know, in in my world, I'm looking at YouTube as well. I make, for what everyone says online, like I make my car payment in ad revenue,
Mhm.
and then I buy my groceries with my affiliate links. Right. So it's just
Right.
like, that's not bad. Like, I don't
Mhm.
like, I mean, I'm not living off of the YouTube revenue, but
Yeah.
there are some things covered in life, and that's a
Yeah.
fine thing. And then I have my podcast. So I actually look at myself as a content creator, YouTube, podcasting, blogging, that kind of thing. Um, but a lot of people like yourself are also have that third area of monetization, the courses,
Mm.
digital downloads. Some people do merchandise.
Yeah.
So, what's the thing that you do that you see yourself transitioning to, have the business side of the house operating?
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of the revenue model of my business anyway, it always has been courses. I mean, I will eventually, I think, actually move towards possibly a membership model for my core course for various reasons, but essentially a paid product. Now, I did decide very, very early on that I was going to focus on that exclusively, actually. So although I did become an affiliate for a very, very few things, Elementor, obviously, um, Generate Press, a couple of hosting providers, and I think that was actually pretty much it. If I'm honest, I think that was it. So a lot of the affiliate stuff was just incidental. Um, oh God, my design build website is so horrifically out of date.
Oh, should I not be showing this?
No,
Okay.
show it by all
Okay.
means. Oh my word, it is so out of date. But yeah, the whole thing of, I think what I decided is that if I was gonna muddy the waters with affiliate stuff, right? So if I was gonna muddy the waters with just having like let's call it like a 50% focus on affiliate and also the courses as well. I think partly it'd be a bit of a confusing message for the audience, partly a risk. Probably the risk is only in my head, but of people maybe not trusting my recommendation if there was an awful lot of affiliate promotion, and they might not trust my recommendations overall, because when I do promote something, it is incidental almost. Very rarely will do like a big affiliate review or a big. I can't remember if I've ever done anything like that. So I just decided from day one that was going to be the thing. I will say the affiliate income when I first started saved my ass. I'd given up web design, given up clients. We had no money. The family had no money in the first place because I was dreadful at making money as a web designer. And my wife, who is tremendously supportive, God bless her, just trusted that I would pull this thing around and I would do something of it. But we'd actually, through 2017, we'd actually got to the point where we'd maxed out all the cards. We'd sold off various kind of like life insurances, and I think we sold one of the kids. I sold a kid. we were at the wire. And so actually the affiliate income, small that it was, saved us in those early days. Absolutely saved us. Yeah. I actually don't have a lot of experience with or any insight into how much money people in the WordPress space, for instance, make from affiliate links and from monetizing the videos. I've actually never done that. I've never actually had ads on the videos at all. So probably a fool for missing out on that cash. But so yeah, I'd always just focus. It's like ultimately the paid stuff is going to be the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I don't, I only have the affiliate links to the products that I ultimately, wholeheartedly would recommend.
Yeah.
I don't do any hosting affiliates because of my day job at Pagely, but even still, like I wouldn't, it's very difficult for me to get behind, a lot of the affiliates who just push, high commission and then that's all they want. And then they just work you from that angle. And like you, like I see other YouTubers that will, 1 month it's recommending this best WordPress host, and then the next month, no, this is the best one. And then it's like this other page builder, and it drives me bonkers. But I guess, it works for them. And if the audience is happy in that realm, so be it. Right. So be it. I won't drown myself in that angst.
Yeah. I know just while I remember, I've become really friendly with Paul Charlton. Paul C, he calls himself on WP Tuts.
Okay.
Now he's been doing this. He's had his YouTube WP Tuts channel for a long time, and I know that he said that his channel was kind of. I'm sure he won't mind me sharing this. It's nothing incriminating, but we've had a few conversations, and he said that his channel kind of pootled along slowly, picking up subscribers, but it really kind of shot. I mean, the subscribers have really gone through the roof at the moment. I think he's on like 70,000 at the moment. He's very, very consistent. His quality of his stuff is excellent, and it's got better and better and better and better. Although he does have the puzzle.
He does have the puzzled YouTube look.
But he said the two big things that have really rocketed the popularity of his channel. One of them is his face, right? So I'm not saying he's gorgeous or anything, but just the fact he didn't have his face on his thumbnails, in his videos. It was just this voice. And it's as soon as he put his face on the thumbnails, in the videos, started also kind of in his social channels and his Twitter and things like that, sharing just, pictures of himself walking with his dog and more rounded personality than just the tutorials. That suddenly, it was like a hockey stick, like straight up. The other one was realizing that he had, I mean, he's still not like 100% niching down or anything, but he noticed that his audience reacted to the more complex Elementor type tutorial stuff. So the kind of like dynamic content, custom fields, custom post types, doing really wacky things with that. Kind of extending a lot of these tools probably beyond what they were intended for. Nobody else seemed to be doing that. Everybody else seemed to be sticking to quite sort of surface type of things. So more strategic type videos that were more of the kind of like the advanced stage. Just I suppose just it accidentally ending up filling a small corner of the market that not a lot of people are really serving in any kind of depth, especially specifically for Elementor and specifically for dynamic content in Elementor.
Yeah.
And again, he's seen that gone. That's seen an enormous boost as well.
Yeah. One of the things, and maybe you can relate to this. I don't know how much like videography, photography content you consume on YouTube, lighting, cameras, editing, all of this stuff. But one of the things that I feel so challenged with, and actually so envious of YouTubers that are doing like product reviews on anything, on like tech, on cameras, on computers. It's a tangible product. They can do cool things with B-roll, and they can do, fun things with lighting and sound and storytelling.
Yeah.
And then there's us, and all we have is a screen recording, of some software in a browser. And those are things I've tried to push. Like I've tried to do some storytelling in there. Some of my more popular videos are, I was wrong about Elementor, and I'm doing some interesting cuts and editing, but it's still like a talking head piece with as much like cool stuff I can. Sometimes I'm using my camera and doing some B-roll with Elementor on my iPad, just trying to mix things up and be more creative. Do you ever try, lust for that kind of thing, or say, man, I wish we could have some more tangible products here?
Yeah, I do actually. Well, one of the things that I was very kind of aware of from the very beginning was, well, I think partly it's from my teaching experience, right? If you're gonna keep the attention of a classroom of 7-year-olds, right, you've got to mix it up. You can't just stand there just talking at them for half an hour, because they're just going to just revolt and throw things at you. So I think it's partly that, just understanding that you've got to mix it up. You've got to have some sort of structure as well. People have kind of got to have a rough idea that there is some structure to this thing. There are, like you say, it's like storytelling elements. So it's going to have a beginning. It's going to evolve to something else. There's going to be a middle bit. There's going to be kind of an ending. And I noticed that whenever I did watch anybody else's tech-related YouTube stuff, that a lot of the time it was not any of those things. It's usually quite, I'm going to tell you about this thing now, and then you click on this and you click on this, and it would drone on for like half an hour kind of thing. That's not to say, it's hard work doing this stuff.
I'll go and delete that video, Dave. I'll take that right out of my library.
You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah. But so there was like my own experience as well, just made me think, I've got these things, I've got to mix them up a bit. It cannot just be this voice just kind of droning on. Here's Paul Charlton, by the way, WP Tuts. He's just appeared. Just been talking about you, Paul.
He must have seen his YouTube channel on the screen.
He must have done, yeah. His ears are burning. But yeah, I saw that. So I've always instinctively, without understanding the technical techniques to make it happen, the fact that stuff has got to change. You need a bit of yourself on camera. You need to take yourself off the camera. You need to have some stuff kind of cutting in and sliding in, and sometimes just put some slides up or throw in a graphic. So I've always kind of instinctively had that understanding. You've just, as a respect to your audience, you've got to keep them engaged. It is in more recent times that I think I've just become more aware of watching people, like you say, like the product videos, where the timing of a cut can be absolutely hilarious. I mean, you've done it yourself many times. You're watching something, just literally the timing of the cut, I just laugh out loud. Yeah, it's just it just comes from out of nowhere. It's just hilarious.
Yeah.
So I've got better at. I think that sort of stuff actually is really, really important. I think some people might say, don't bother with that, because look, you're just teaching us how to do this thing on screen.
Yeah.
Stop messing about with your B-roll and your little cuts and your bloopers and stuff like that. But I actually think that partly from audience engagement, audience enjoyment, subscribers, the fact that they're going to come back, but also for YouTube SEO as well. I mean, people are going to watch more of your video, which means that you're going to end up higher up in the search and things like that as well. So
Yeah.
one of the best things that I did about just under a year ago, when I was deep into remaking my first course, No Stress WordPress, I actually hired a video editor. So I hadn't had a video editor for the best part of 2.5 years, done it all myself. And I hired a video editor, and that was the best thing I ever did. It's probably one of the reasons that the video production quality increased, which you kindly noticed. Partly also me getting my head around lights and getting my head around how my camera. I bought myself a DSLR like as soon as I could afford basic Canon bottom of the range DSLR. And it was only more recently hiring a video editor, just saying, do you know how I'm supposed to set this thing up? What's this ISO thing? And so just I think it's important to know that stuff.
Yeah. One last technical question, and I want to transition over to your courses and this new idea that you've been teasing along all this time. Yeah. What are you using to do the actual screen recording? Is it ScreenFlow, or are you using Camtasia? Yeah,
ScreenFlow. Yeah. I got into ScreenFlow from the beginning. Really, I love it.
Yeah. I find it. Although the file size is just massive.
Huge.
Like, I think a 10-minute video might be close to 20 gigabytes or something like that. It's insane. And I mean, it's the same thing when I do talking head pieces with my camera for my other channel. If I'm recording 4K, it's probably the same thing, right? So you're moving these files around, and I think people overlook that sometimes. Like this is a lot of work. Just the slightest thing, having your production set up and ready to go every time you record. One of the most challenging things for me as well, but also one of those things where just leaving your microphone, I don't have it set up right now, but my boom microphone set up and ready to go. Yeah, just that 30 seconds equates to so much time saved in the long haul.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've concentrated on actually recently, is having the lights set up and ready. I've got the camera here kind of set up and ready. I've got the same. I've got like a boom shotgun thing here, which is just set up all the time. So although I'm going to experiment a lot more with like outdoor stuff as well, like grab the. I bought myself one of what they call the switch pods.
Oh, switch pod, yep.
A little switch pod tripod thing that you can change and make it into like a selfie stick and stuff like that. But so kind of to mix those things up. But the beauty of just being able to know that if I need to shoot a video right now with this, then I'm good to go. I'm not going to waste time.
So let's dive into that new idea of yours. And what do you have that people can sign up for right now to eagerly consume your courses?
Yeah, well, but I mean, I don't want to give you the idea that this is some fully formed thing that I've got something to sell or anything, because I haven't at the moment. But although I absolutely love teaching people how to use WordPress more effectively and all the things that I've been doing, I absolutely love it. But I realized, and I'm going to cut out a very long story here to get to the point, but I realized that the big passion that I actually have is for the teaching itself. It's actually and I don't want to get too deep. I'll start crying. but it's I see the difference, the transformation, I suppose, that I've made to my audience's lives, and especially my students, the paying students, because they've had the biggest I don't know, the biggest input into my training. I've seen the massive difference that it's made. And I started to realize, man, I would love to inspire other people, other techies, other people who have got tech skills. They may be delivering those to clients, maybe some sort of digital agency or some sort of digital consultancy of some kind, to see that teaching is so powerful, is to inspire people to see just how powerful teaching is. and also to see the value in their technical skills. I do think I've learned a lot about this actually along the last 3 years, is that I think a lot of people who are very, very good at tech also, this is a gross generalization, but also tend to be a little bit introvert as well sometimes, with all the associated issues that I think stop them achieving their potential massively. And there are all kinds of deep things going on. I won't go into that here, but so it's the kind of thing I really want to help people to do. I'm just at the early stages of starting an idea to teach people how to basically how to make and sell tech focused courses, how to teach them, how to get massive results for your students, how to find the right audience, how to sell the value, sell the benefits of the tech. So many techies and developers can't see beyond the features. They can't see the big picture of the difference that teaching somebody such, it might be anything, email marketing or funnels or analytics or something, can make such a difference. So I'm literally just at the very early stages at the moment of just doing audience research. I did a webinar yesterday where I asked people to submit just anything, ask me all your questions, and hundreds and hundreds of questions, which is brilliant. So I'm literally just at the early stages of that, and testing it, rolling it out, audience research, and seeing how that goes.
Where do you want people to send their feedback as they hear this? Maybe they have an idea and they just want to email you, hit a contact form.
Yeah, if it's about this new thing, actually, I think because I've not got anything set up on the site at the moment, I'm literally just flying by the seat of my pants with this idea at the moment. I'm actually what I'm doing is basically I'm doing what I would recommend other people do as well. What I'm doing at the moment is not making an all singing, all dancing website or an all singing, all dancing massive like load of YouTube videos. I'm just doing it literally kind of, I suppose, MVP really, minimum viable product. And what can I do to learn and help people? So at the moment, I've actually set up, the website is going to be at mrdavefoy.com, but there's nothing there at the moment. So
I won't pull it up.
yeah, there's nothing apart from, So it's, but if you email Dave at mrdavefoy.com, if you've got any questions about any aspect of what I do, if you've got any burning desire to teach some aspect of the tech that there are all kinds of amazingly interesting things to do with mindset and imposter syndrome and perfectionism and procrastination beyond just how you do it.
Yeah. I mean, so anyone in the WordPress space, I mean, we get so lost in what we can do with WordPress that I know, like when I was running my agency day to day, it's like you can quickly, hear a customer present a problem that they're looking to solve. And in your head, you're like, oh yeah, Beaver Builder, Gravity Forms, like advanced custom fields. I can do all this. I can do that. Then we can connect it up with Zapier and make it talk to like some other platform, right? Yeah. And the customer, then you don't even realize it. You're not thinking it. You're saying it out loud to the customer. Like they're looking at you going, what? I don't even know what you're saying right now. Like, I just want you to solve this, this problem.
So I can solve a problem, and they've just got an idea of what their life is going to be like when it's solved.
Yeah.
It's so funny. We've got this drawer in the office just behind me, which has got a load of like scrap paper, and I picked some out the other day just to scribble some stuff on, and it had an old proposal from 2012 or something like that I'd written for a website project, and it was just it's just absolute like face palm.
Oh yeah,
just a list of all the technology. We're going to use this platform, and we're going to integrate this, and we're going to do this kind of thing, and it's like thinking we didn't. I remember we did not win that project, and I can see exactly why.
I remember in the first big project that my agency got, and this goes back to probably around the same time, maybe like 2011, late 2010. We had the customer come in. We didn't even get a deposit on the project yet, and and we sketched out, this is when we did logos at the very beginning, and we sketched out different variations of logos. This is all for the proposal. This was to win the business. We were not even getting paid at this point. And then I remember going to Staples, which is an office supply store in the US.
Staples.
Yeah. And printed out the proposal on heavy stock paper, had it bound with the logos in it. Nice plastic cover, put it in a nice envelope and mailed it off for like another $5 or whatever it cost me. We ended up winning the customer, but it was the worst customer ever.
Yeah.
Oh man, the things we used to do.
No surprise. I've just got to tell you really, really, really quickly. It's a very, very quick story, but it goes back to sort of maybe 2005. There was a local business, a local bar, who wanted a website, and they wanted all kinds of things. They wanted a customer forum and a gallery and all sorts of things. So I went down, did the discovery thing, asked him long list of this like massive laundry list of all the different features they want. I went away and put together this enormously detailed proposal about every single aspect of it. Went back to see the guy a week later, sat down with him, and the first thing that he said to me was, "Dave, I don't care if this costs £50 or £500. We're gonna go for it." I charged, I think, £10,000. Right, the proposal was for quite a lot of money, and my heart sank. Like, oh dear.
Oh man, yeah, the fun times of agency life. Well,
yeah,
Dave, this has been an amazing interview. Thanks for being that guinea pig on my road of interviewing other WordPress tutorial and YouTube creators.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Looking at certainly getting some more folks on here to talk about this stuff. Where can folks find you to buy your courses and to say thanks?
Yeah, I'm at designbuildweb.co. So you go to designbuildweb.co, and there's all the contacts and everything else there as well. I am actually on Twitter as well. So you're going to hit me up on Twitter. I'm just, I think I'm Mr. Dave Foy actually on Twitter. So yeah.
Mr. Dave Foy on Twitter. He is. Everyone else listening to this is plugintut.com, plugintut.com/subscribe to join that mailing list. And you are probably also listening to this on my other podcast over at mattreport.com. Thanks for listening over there as well. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Helps us get found. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching the episode.